I've dealt with a lot of things in life, from loss to come-ups to you name it.
Desperate, dangerous weather like this especially. There's just nowhere for this population to turn.
It's often said that in America, every societal challenge comes with a quantifiable cost. And when it comes to the pervasive crisis of homelessness, that cost has reached truly astronomical figures. Over the past decade, spanning federal, state, and local government initiatives, the United States has poured an astonishing sum, over $100 billion, into what is collectively known as the homelessness response system. That's $100 billion. To truly grasp the magnitude of this investment, consider that this figure surpasses the annual gross domestic product of numerous developed nations. It represents sufficient capital to construct millions of permanent housing units, or even to fundamentally transform mental health care services across the entire continent. Yet, one only needs to observe our urban landscapes. If such an immense investment has been made, then why do the sidewalks of Los Angeles, Seattle, and Philadelphia appear more congested with makeshift encampments than ever before? Why, here in 2026, are we witnessing an unprecedented surge in tents, despair, and ultimately, death on our streets? A sight not seen since the grim days of the Great Depression. Tonight, our mission is to follow the money trail. We will delve beyond the tragic faces and worn blankets, instead examining the meticulous ledgers and opaque bank accounts. We intend to launch a thorough investigation into what we term the homeless industrial complex, a vast, ever-expanding network of government agencies, exorbitantly paid consultants, and nonprofit organizations that have, astonishingly, transformed genuine human suffering into a lucrative, multi-billion-dollar enterprise. Welcome to Homeless US. I am your narrator. And today we pose the critical question that those in positions of power seem eager to avoid. Where precisely did all that money vanish? Is it conceivable that the very system engineered to end homelessness has, in fact, cultivated a perverse financial incentive to ensure its own perpetuation? Are we genuinely funding tangible solutions? Or are we merely propping up a bureaucratic behemoth that flourishes only so long as the crisis endures? Our journey will take us from the opulent office buildings where city consultants conduct their business, down to the mud-soaked encampments nestled beneath highway overpasses. We will seek out whistleblowers, courageous individuals who have witnessed this waste firsthand from within the system. And we will engage with taxpayers who are utterly fed up with seeing their hard-earned dollars evaporate into a bottomless black hole of administrative costs. The data we've uncovered is nothing short of staggering. In certain metropolitan areas, we are spending in excess of $100,000 per homeless individual every single year. Yet, that same individual remains sleeping on a piece of cardboard, continues to starve, and still suffers untreated from their addiction. If this vast sum isn't reaching those living on the streets, then whose pockets are truly being lined? In this inaugural chapter, we lay the groundwork for a profound financial autopsy of what was once known as the American dream. This is no longer merely a social failing. Rather, we are confronting a systemic robbery. Prepare yourself, because once these numbers are laid bare, you will forever view a homeless encampment through a different lens. This is the $100 billion failure, and the unvarnished truth, we assure you, is far more costly than you could possibly have imagined. Part 2, the bureaucracy beast, where the dollars disappear. To truly comprehend why an investment of $100 billion has failed to clear our streets of encampments, one must first grasp the nature of what we call the bureaucracy beast. In the convoluted world of government spending, a dollar seldom travels directly from the public treasury to the individual in desperate need. Instead, it embarks on an arduous and often treacherous journey, winding its way through an intricate maze of departments, committees, and countless subcontractors. By the time that solitary dollar eventually reaches the sidewalk where it's supposedly needed most, it has been incrementally diminished, nibbled away by what we've termed the middleman tax. Consider a concrete example. In prominent West Coast cities, the cost per unit for constructing supportive housing tailored for the homeless has astronomically soared to over $700,000. In certain egregious instances, this figure even surpasses $1 million for a single studio apartment. Just ponder that reality for a moment. For the equivalent price of one modest apartment intended for one individual, one could easily acquire a mansion in numerous other regions across the nation. So, where exactly does that $1 million disappear? It's certainly not being spent on gold-plated faucets. Instead, it's swallowed by what are euphemistically called soft costs. This includes environmental impact studies that drag on for years, exorbitant legal fees incurred to combat neighborhood opposition, and substantial consulting fees paid to specialized firms whose primary expertise lies in navigating the bureaucratic labyrinth. However, the inherent wastefulness extends far beyond construction costs. Let us now turn our attention to the nonprofit sector. In America, we have, to a significant extent, outsourced the very soul of our social safety net to literally thousands of 501c3 organizations. While many of these groups undoubtedly perform heroic work on the front lines, a substantial number have regrettably devolved into what critics accurately label permanent bureaucracies. When a nonprofit organization secures, for instance, a $10 million grant supposedly to study homelessness, a disproportionately significant portion of that funding invariably ends up in executive salaries. We routinely observe CEOs of these homelessness-focused nonprofits commanding annual incomes of $300, $400, or even a staggering $500,000. While the very clients they claim to serve are left asleep in the rain, the individuals managing this crisis are, ironically, enjoying lives of considerable luxury. And herein lies the profoundly disturbing incentive. If the homelessness problem were to be genuinely resolved tomorrow, these organizations would instantaneously lose their substantial funding streams. Their extensive staff would face unemployment, and their highly compensated CEOs would forfeit their enormous paychecks. In this dark and twisted calculus, the solution itself harbors a potent financial motive to ensure the problem not only persists but thrives. We spoke with a former city auditor who, for obvious reasons, requested to remain entirely anonymous. He vividly described the entire system as nothing short of a self-licking ice cream cone. Every single year, he informed us, we observe the very same groups submitting applications for the very same grants. We consistently demand quantifiable metrics of success. For instance, how many individuals were genuinely housed? How many maintained sobriety? Yet, the numbers provided are perpetually vague. They cite outreach contacts or services offered, but they conspicuously avoid any mention of lives transformed. It's fundamentally a shell game, shamelessly played with hard-earned taxpayer money. This systemic flaw explains precisely why, in 2026, the homeless industrial complex has astonishingly emerged as one of the fastest-growing sectors of our economy. It operates as an industry that consistently generates voluminous reports rather than tangible results. It is unequivocally an industry that prioritizes convoluted process above the fundamental needs of people. As one traverses the sprawling encampments in areas like Kensington or Skid Row, one inevitably encounters the ubiquitous outreach workers in their bright neon vests. They distribute items such as a bottle of water, a fresh needle, and perhaps a small pamphlet. This ritual is formally designated as engagement. On paper, that single bottle of water meticulously counts as a service delivered, thereby justifying the allocation of the next multi-million-dollar grant. Yet for the individual slowly succumbing to a virulent infection within his tent, that pamphlet offers no semblance of a life raft. Instead, it tragically serves as a tombstone. The tragedy here isn't merely the blatant waste of public funds. The true tragedy lies in the stark reality that while the bureaucracy expands and grows increasingly bloated, the very people on the street are sinking into ever deeper desperation. Remember the devastating trank epidemic we explored in our previous episode? It flourishes precisely within the gaping voids and systemic failures deliberately left by this broken system. When an individual finally gathers the courage to scream for help, when they are genuinely ready to embark on the path to sobriety, they are routinely instructed to call a number or wait for an assessment. They find themselves effectively trapped in a digital waiting room, while the substantial funds earmarked specifically for their recovery are instead being squandered on yet another strategic planning session within the hallowed halls of City Hall. How did we arrive at such a deplorable state? How did a nation capable of putting a man on the moon seemingly become utterly incapable of constructing a simple roof over a citizen's head without squandering $1 million in the process? The distressing answer, we contend, lies squarely within a political culture that demonstrably prefers the optics of appearing to help over the tangible act of actually providing assistance. In our upcoming chapter, we will meticulously examine the political shield, uncovering precisely how politicians artfully utilize these nonprofit organizations to both conceal their own glaring failures and, more importantly, to keep the lucrative $100 billion gravy train perpetually in motion. Part 3. The political shield, votes, power, and precision. If the system is so glaringly broken, one might reasonably ask, why is it not simply fixed? To properly address this, we must critically examine what we've identified as the political shield. Here in 2026, the homelessness crisis has regrettably evolved beyond merely being a profound humanitarian disaster. It has, in fact, been weaponized as a potent political tool. For many politicians, the existence of the homeless industrial complex serves a convenient dual purpose. Firstly, it offers an invaluable buffer of accountability. When, for example, a persistent reporter confronts a mayor about the continued proliferation of tents on the streets, despite significant tax increases, the mayor can effortlessly deflect blame by simply pointing to the dozens of nonprofit organizations they've generously funded. We've invested millions, they declare. We've empowered dedicated community leaders. By strategically outsourcing the very solution to third-party entities, the politician adeptly sidesteps any direct blame when those solutions inevitably falter. It's never the politician who is failing. Rather, the providers are simply encountering unprecedented challenges in their efforts. Yet, there exists a far darker, more insidious aspect to this political shield. The seemingly endless $100 billion gravy train isn't merely transferring vast sums of money. It is more critically transferring influence and consolidating power. Indeed, many of these gargantuan nonprofits and influential consulting firms are significant, often opaque, donors to political campaigns. This creates a self-perpetuating, circular economy of power and patronage. The politician approves the lucrative grant. The nonprofit then engages the chosen consultants, and those very consultants, in turn, funnel substantial donations back into the politician's re-election fund. Within this distorted environment, the very notion of progress is not measured by the number of human lives saved or transformed, but rather by the sheer size of the allocated budget. We frequently observe cities declaring states of emergency, not out of a genuine desire to resolve the underlying problem, but because such declarations conveniently permit them to circumvent traditional, often cumbersome, bidding regulations. This effectively enables them to unilaterally award massive contracts to their political allies and favored entities, all without the customary public oversight. While politicians enthusiastically pose for carefully orchestrated photo opportunities in front of a newly opened tiny home village, a project that almost certainly cost 3 times its actual market value, the stark and grim reality on the ground remains stubbornly unchanged. These initiatives often amount to little more than poverty theater. They are meticulously designed to appear impressive on a campaign flyer or a news segment, yet they succeed in housing only a tiny fraction of the affected population, while the overwhelming majority are simply pushed further into the forgotten shadows. We engage with a local community organizer from a neighborhood that has endured 20 so-called sweeps in the past year alone. They aren't genuinely trying to help these individuals, she frankly confided in us. They're simply attempting to move them out of public sight before the next election cycle. It's entirely about optics, not about achieving any meaningful outcomes. Even when the cameras cease rolling and the media attention fades, the formidable shield endures. The money continues to flow unabated. The tents are perpetually relocated, and the monumental $100 billion failure steadily continues its expansion, meticulously protected by an impenetrable wall of bureaucratic red tape and sheer political convenience. Part 4. The culture of enabling, compassion without boundaries. There's a particular word frequently invoked within the corridors of power when the topic of homelessness arises: compassion. But here in 2026, we are compelled to pose a truly difficult, even uncomfortable question. Is our contemporary, often lauded, version of compassion inadvertently manifesting as a profound form of cruelty? Across numerous American cities, what began as the housing-first model has regrettably devolved into an approach that can only be described as housing only. The initial concept was deceptively simple: provide an individual with a stable home, and their myriad problems, be it addiction, mental illness, or deep-seated trauma, will become more manageable, easier to address. Yet, in practical application, we have observed thousands of individuals placed into apartments where they are left entirely alone with their formidable demons. Lacking mandatory treatment programs and robust structured support, these apartments frequently transform into what we've termed vertical Kensington avenues, private spaces where individuals tragically overdose behind closed doors, rather than in public view of the sidewalk. Furthermore, we must confront the contentious issue of low-barrier services. We have, perhaps inadvertently, constructed a system that paradoxically makes it remarkably easy to remain homeless, while simultaneously making it incredibly arduous to escape that condition. By supplying virtually everything necessary to merely survive on the street: tents, clean needles, daily meals, yet without instituting any concrete requirements for an individual to actively move towards recovery, we have effectively fostered an environment of perpetual maintenance for homelessness itself. Critics have aptly labeled this the enabling culture. It stems from a deeply ingrained belief that we should not judge or pressure individuals to change their circumstances. But when confronted with the horrifying sight of a 20-year-old girl literally rotting away from xylazine-induced ulcers, is it truly compassionate to merely offer her a clean needle and then disengage? Is it genuinely compassionate to inform a man suffering from severe schizophrenia that he possesses the unassailable right to subsist in his own squalor within a public park? We conducted an interview with a former social worker who, out of profound frustration, ultimately abandoned the system. We weren't actually saving people, he asserted plainly. We were merely managing their relentless decline. Every single time I attempted to actively encourage someone toward rehabilitation, I was promptly chastised for being paternalistic. The system, frankly, is meticulously designed to keep individuals on the street, precisely because a person in successful recovery no longer requires a service provider anymore. This insidious culture of enabling serves as the perfect, complicit partner for the sprawling $100 billion bureaucracy. It conveniently provides the moral justification for the rampant waste. As long as we continue to label it compassion, we are conveniently absolved from having to scrutinize the actual results. We can comfortably overlook the horrifying reality that the death toll continues to climb, and we can deliberately ignore the undeniable truth that our once public spaces are progressively becoming utterly unusable. In essence, we have replaced the principle of tough love with a far more damaging and costly, expensive indifference. And the ultimate tragic cost of this approach is being brutally paid in countless human lives. Part 5. The final audit. Can we break the cycle? So, what, then, is a conclusive audit of this monumental $100 billion failure? It represents a devastating tally of squandered potential. It stands as a somber record of a nation that has profoundly lost its moral compass, opting instead to lavish funding upon an ever-expanding bureaucracy rather than fostering a genuine brotherhood. We have, regrettably, constructed a system that demonstrates incredible efficiency in expending vast sums of money, yet is tragically, devastatingly inefficient at saving human souls. But this dire situation does not, and must not, have to persist. Indeed, there exist proven models that genuinely work. There are innovative programs that judiciously combine stable housing with rigorous accountability, mandatory treatment protocols, and essential job training initiatives. There are even cities that have demonstrably reduced their homeless populations by resolutely focusing on tangible human results rather than abstract process metrics. However, these truly effective programs often face an uphill battle for crucial funding, precisely because they do not align with the entrenched political or financial interests of the overarching industrial complex. To effectively break this debilitating cycle, we must cease being afraid of confronting the uncomfortable truth. We must collectively demand uncompromising transparency. Every single dollar allocated to homelessness initiatives should be meticulously tracked and accounted for. Every nonprofit organization must be rigorously judged, not by its stated intentions, but by how many individuals it genuinely helps transition off the street and into a productive, fulfilling life. The $100 billion represents far more than mere currency. It embodies the profound trust placed by the American people. And at this very moment, that sacred trust is being flagrantly betrayed. As you navigate through your own city tonight, take a moment to gaze at the shimmering lights within the high-rise windows. Then, cast your eyes toward the deepening shadows in the alleyways below. Remember that the vast, often cruel, distance between these two realities is not merely a matter of random luck. It is unequivocally a direct consequence of deliberate policy choices. Kensington, Skid Row, the Tenderloin. These are not simply geographical locations. They are, in a very real and tragic sense, the damning balance sheets of a fundamentally failing system. The crucial question before us is not whether we possess the financial resources to solve this crisis. We have already unequivocally demonstrated that we do. The more profound question is, do we possess the collective courage and political will to dismantle the entrenched industry that so shamelessly profits from human pain and suffering? Thank you for watching this intensive investigative report from Homeless US. If you truly believe that unvarnished truth holds more value than entrenched bureaucracy, we urge you to share this video. Let us collectively initiate an audit that even the most recalcitrant politicians will find impossible to ignore. Please share your thoughts and perspectives below. Where do you suspect the money is truly going in your own city? Let's engage in this vital conversation. Good night, and always remember to keep relentlessly seeking the truth.